Ever feel like you're just playing a role, living by rules you never agreed to? I used to feel the same way, always concerned with fitting in, making others happy, and playing by someone else's script. But then something clicked. I realized that many of the social habits we adopt aren't designed to help us thrive. They're meant to keep us stuck. If you're ready to break free and start living life on your own terms, it's time to shed these 7 toxic social habits. Let me warn you, it won't be comfortable, and it certainly won't be easy, but the freedom you gain will be worth every moment of discomfort. Habit number 1, people-pleasing. Let's dive into one of the most crippling habits of all, people-pleasing. It's so deeply rooted in us that we often mistake it for kindness. But let's get real. People-pleasing isn't genuine kindness. It's more like self-sabotage wrapped up in politeness. I was once the ultimate people-pleaser, saying yes to every request, smiling through situations that made me uncomfortable, and bending over backward just to keep others happy. I thought I was being generous, but in reality, I was prioritizing everyone else's needs over my own, at my own expense. The turning point for me came when I realized that this habit wasn't just draining, it was leading to resentment. I was investing time and energy into people who didn't value or reciprocate my efforts. And you know what? The more I tried to make everyone happy, the less they respected me. It was as if my constant yes was silently screaming that my time, energy, and self-worth were available to anyone who wanted a piece. Here's the hard truth. People-pleasing is more about avoiding discomfort than it is about helping others. When we say yes just to avoid rejection or confrontation, we're not doing it for them, we're doing it for ourselves. Once I realized this, I made a conscious choice to put myself first, and the results were astounding. True friends respected my boundaries, and I felt a newfound sense of confidence. If you're still caught in the cycle of people-pleasing, it's time to recognize your worth and start putting yourself first. It won't be easy, but the freedom you gain will be transformative. Habit number 2, holding grudges. Holding on to grudges is like gripping a burning coal, hoping the other person feels the heat. I used to be an expert at this, clutching onto every painful word and betrayal, convinced that my resentment was a form of justice. But here's the reality. Holding grudges does far more damage to you than it ever could to the person who hurt you. It's like poisoning your own heart and expecting them to suffer. I held on to one particular grudge for years, replaying the scenario in my head, imagining all the ways I could have had the last word. But instead of feeling empowered, I felt heavy, trapped by the weight of my own bitterness. The grudge wasn't protecting me, it was chaining me to the pain. The act of letting go doesn't mean you're condoning what happened. It means you're choosing your peace over your pain. When I finally let go, I felt lighter, freer, as if a massive weight had been lifted from my shoulders. Forgiveness isn't about making things right for the other person. It's about reclaiming your own life. If you're still holding on to a grudge, ask yourself, is it worth sacrificing your peace? Let it go and watch how your life begins to flourish. Habit number 3, ignoring red flags in relationships. We've all done it. Ignored glaring red flags in relationships, convincing ourselves that things will magically get better. I've been there, telling myself that the issues were just rough patches, or that everyone has flaws. But here's the thing. Ignoring red flags is like driving with a blindfold on. It's only a matter of time before you crash. I stayed in a toxic relationship for far too long, ignoring disrespect, dishonesty, and behavior that made me feel uneasy. I convinced myself that I could make it work. But the truth is, red flags don't just disappear. They become more destructive over time. When you ignore them, you're essentially betraying yourself, telling yourself that your needs and boundaries don't matter. Here's the lesson. You deserve to be in relationships where you feel valued and respected, not ones where you're constantly on edge. Don't wait for things to magically change. Take control and walk away when you see those warning signs. You owe it to yourself to prioritize your well-being. Habit number 4, staying silent on important issues. We often stay silent to avoid conflict, telling ourselves it's not our place to speak up. But here's the harsh truth. Staying silent in the face of injustice isn't neutrality, it's complicity. I used to believe that keeping quiet was the right choice, especially when the stakes were high. But eventually, I realized that silence wasn't protecting me. It was betraying my values. I once witnessed a colleague being mistreated at work and chose to stay silent. I told myself it wasn't my fight, but the guilt of not speaking up stayed with me long after. Staying silent allows wrongdoing to thrive, and it keeps us locked in a prison of our own making. The lesson here is simple. Your voice matters. When you speak up, you're not just advocating for others. You're reclaiming your own integrity. Silence might feel safe, but it comes at the cost of your soul. Speak up, even when it's uncomfortable, because staying silent is too high a price to pay. Habit number 5. Seeking constant entertainment. In today's digital age, we've become addicted to the constant flood of entertainment available at our fingertips. Whether it's scrolling endlessly on social media, binge-watching series, or playing video games for hours on end, we've normalized this behavior as a way of life. But here's the harsh truth. Seeking constant entertainment is a form of escapism that keeps us from facing the realities of our own lives. I used to be trapped in this cycle too, filling every free moment with some form of entertainment, telling myself that I deserved a break or that it was helping me unwind. But the reality was, I wasn't taking a break from life. I was running away from it. This habit is particularly dangerous because it tricks us into believing that we're relaxing, when in fact, we're numbing ourselves to avoid confronting our thoughts, emotions, and challenges. I remember days where I would drift from one YouTube video to another, feeling a temporary sense of satisfaction, but ultimately feeling emptier inside. I started noticing that the more I sought these distractions, the more disconnected I became from my own goals, desires, and even from the people around me. It's a cycle that keeps you from facing the hard truths about your life, and it prevents you from growing, evolving, or pursuing anything meaningful. Breaking this habit doesn't mean you need to cut out all entertainment. It's about finding a balance. Take time to disconnect from the digital world and engage in activities that truly enrich your life. Start small. Spend 15 minutes in silence. Take up a hobby that doesn't involve a screen, or spend quality time with loved ones without distractions. When I began to limit my exposure to constant entertainment, I found myself rediscovering the beauty of being present, of actually living rather than just consuming. You'll be amazed at how much more vibrant life becomes when you're not constantly trying to escape it. Habit number 6. Oversharing personal details. We live in an era where it's normal to share every single detail of our lives online. It feels good to post that vacation picture, to share your thoughts on the latest drama, or to vent about your relationship issues. But there's a fine line between being open and oversharing, and crossing that line can be detrimental. I used to believe that sharing my personal life with the world would make me more relatable, that it would somehow validate my experiences. However, what I didn't realize was that oversharing was slowly chipping away at my sense of privacy, self-respect, and even my relationships. You see, when you put everything out there, you're not just opening up to friends and family, you're exposing yourself to everyone, including people who may not have your best interests at heart. I remember sharing some deeply personal struggles on social media, thinking that it would make me feel seen and supported. Instead, I felt vulnerable, judged, and even misunderstood. It was a wake-up call that not everyone deserves access to the most intimate parts of my life. The truth is, the more you share, the less you have for yourself. Your life isn't meant to be an open book for everyone to read and dissect. The key is to protect your energy and guard your privacy. It's okay to keep certain parts of your life to yourself, or to share only with those who have earned your trust. Not everything needs to be broadcasted to the world. When you stop oversharing, you start valuing your experiences more. You gain a sense of control, and you cultivate deeper, more meaningful relationships with those who truly matter. By setting boundaries, you're telling the world, my life is not a spectacle. It's a sacred journey, and only a select few are invited along for the ride. Habit number 7. Settling for less than you deserve. The last habit, and arguably the most destructive, is settling for less than you deserve. Whether it's in relationships, careers, or even your personal goals. We've all been guilty of this at some point. Accepting jobs that don't fulfill us, staying in relationships that drain us, or settling for a life that feels just okay because we're too afraid of what it would take to strive for more. I've been there myself, convincing myself that I should be grateful for what I had, even when deep down I knew I wanted and deserved more. The fear of change and the comfort of familiarity often keep us stuck in places that no longer serve us. We tell ourselves stories like, "It's not that bad," or "Maybe this is as good as it gets," when in reality, we're just afraid to take that leap into the unknown. But here's the thing, settling is a silent thief. It robs you of the opportunities, the joy, and the fulfillment that comes from going after what you truly want. I realized that every time I settled, I was sending a message to myself that I wasn't worthy of more, and that mindset can be incredibly damaging. The moment you stop settling is the moment you start claiming your power. It's not about being ungrateful for what you have. It's about recognizing that you're capable of more. Don't let fear or complacency hold you back from pursuing the life you deserve. Start believing in your worth and take bold steps towards your dreams. It won't be easy, and it won't happen overnight, but the rewards are worth it. You owe it to yourself to strive for the best, to break free from the chains of mediocrity, and to create a life that truly excites and fulfills you. Conclusion. These 7 habits have the power to hold you back in ways you might not even realize. They keep you playing small, settling for less, and living a life that's far from what you're capable of achieving. It's time to break free from these toxic patterns, to step into your power, and to live a life that's true to who you are. Remember, change isn't easy, but it's always worth it. Start with one habit at a time, be patient with yourself, and commit to the journey. The life you want is waiting for you on the other side of these habits. All you have to do is take that first step.